The only thing about the music is, it's not, unless you at the very top, it ain't that much money in it. So you gotta play it. You gotta play it because you love it.
Right.
And that's what I play it because I love it.
Yeah.
Not because of the money sake, because the money is not there now in New Orleans, especially not in New Orleans. It's not here.
So what do you do living in New Orleans when you're not playing music?
Well, I was involved in corporate America, but now I'm retired and I'm doing this.
Okay. Have you found any struggles, any hardships moving into the city and trying to make it with just your playing?
Fortunately, I don't depend on it, but it does. So it does okay.
Now, since Hurricane Katrina, most of us who used to be so-called hot, we more like prayerful now.
From your experience here in New Orleans, do you think that there actually is a subculture of people who make their life and livelihood with music, such that you would want to understand their life and their language and try to contextualize that specific of a group?
Yeah, not only does it exist, but the subculture itself is so diverse that tackling this subculture is difficult in itself. I mean, if you widened out and tried just to tackle New Orleans, that would almost be an impossibility. But tackling just a jazz subculture is that's so diverse in and of itself. You've got people who are from the streets and they've just learned jazz. They've learned how to play. You've got people who have actually studied jazz at the University of New Orleans, and they play in clubs, all around the city. All of these people are trying to make a living, but they all come from such diverse backgrounds that you almost have to pick a subculture within that subculture. Do you want to reach the educated or the poor? Do you want to reach street performers or people who play in bars or people who play in fancy restaurants? And there's just a huge genre that you've picked here.
Musicians have their own quirks and their own thing. They have crazy schedules and they have a different lifestyle than a lot of other people, and there's things that need to be understood about that. Yeah, no, I think it is a subculture in that way that interacts. It's not as if it's not a distinct subculture in the sense that you have people, musicians are only hanging out with other musicians and they're only marrying other musicians and they're only worshiping with other musicians or whatever. It doesn't come down to that. But there's definitely things that need to be. They're not like they're not like other people in a lot of ways. It's sort of like if you're going to reach people in a circus, or professional athletes or some other kind of very strange occupation. There's a lot to being a New Orleans musician is not what most Americans do for a living. It is a little different, and there's a lifestyle there that I think is kind of unique.
That's very much a part of the city. Music, food, there's a distinct culture here, and I think in terms of the gospel itself, it's important to figure out ways to contextualize that.
What is music for you?
It's my way of giving back something that was given to me, and that's what it does for me. It's just a way of giving back. It is. I love playing it, but it's a means of giving for me.
Good.
It's not so much the money or anything like that. It's the fact that New Orleans lost a lot of music with Katrina. A lot of great musicians left New Orleans and found fertile soil other places and decided to stay there. And they didn't come back, so that's one of the reasons I'm here, to sort of maybe give back some of the old tradition that New Orleans has lost as a result of the storm.
We tasted Hurricane Katrina, and Hurricane Katrina took a lot out of everybody. And see, like people who had a lot of badness in them, a lot of it left. When God come down. See, when he come down, he took his time. He said, New Orleans, this is just me now. He said, New Orleans, I'm tired of y'all. You ain't doing nothing but drugging, drinking, because that's what we do, bro. We get up in the morning, I'm on a drink. Go to bed at night, well, I gotta get my drink before I go. If I was working, I had been working on Bourbon Street for 8 straight years. So, you know, when you go on Bourbon Street, if you play music, that's where you can really get hooked, because you get free drinks. If you smoke, you get your cigarettes. They'll feed you for free. They'll give you any kind of drugs for free.
Yeah.
When you first get in.
What do you not like about living here so far?
Where do I start?
The reverse racism is really big down here.
Okay.
I would just say the violence more so. I wouldn't even say that. Community is good. I think it's just the violence.
The housing's very, very... I've lived in other major cities. The housing's really strange here. You could have a house here that costs $600, and right beside there, the rent's $1,200. Wow. And I think it's because they give Section 8, they give way too much money for public housing. So the landlord, you know, they're not going to give me a house for $700. They can get $1,200 for it. I think that's one of my biggest things.
The first month that we moved down, we heard gunshots like at least 5 or 6 times within the first month that we lived here. And that's completely different than where we're from, you know?
I ride a bike a lot. I mean, that causes an issue. I mean, I've been hit on a bike twice now.
Wow.
I actually just got hit 3 days ago by a cop. They ticketed me for riding against the traffic. The guy did not stop at a sign.
Wow. I think more than reverse racism here, I have seen straight racist white supremacists try to talk down to me hanging out with someone of another color on the other side of the street when I'm sitting with them on one side of the street. But when I hang out with my friends that are non-white, they don't ever tell me watch out for those white people. They never say nothing like that. It's almost like they should be. You know?
Yeah, there's so many barriers here. And the city itself is so divided, and I don't mean it's divided like racially or anything like that. I guess there's some of that too, but just neighborhood to neighborhood is very different.
So that's my church there. We're right here, the office or whatever. So we're uptown, right? And so we got people from Carrollton and Broadmoor a little bit. Not much Central City, little Garden District, little Irish Channel. So that's sort of our area, right? And then he's in Algiers, different denomination, but still, you know, functioning here, right? And then you're over where you're about here.
Yeah.
There. Yeah.
New Orleans, one block can be very nice, huge multi-million-dollar houses, where the next block can be the projects, and there's no buffer. Where in most cities there are the projects on one side of town, the suburb on another side of town, you've got the city, and then you've got buffers in between all of these things. That doesn't occur here. The city is an island. You've got the lake up top, the river down below, and swamp on either side. Land is expensive. The houses are dumps, but people around here, they love it.
New Orleans provides the type of entertainment, and it gives me that type of entertainment culture that I'm familiar with and that I like. Because all the people treat us musicians, they treat us like musicians. Mm-hmm. All of them, they just like musicians, you know. You're well liked. Now, I was well liked in El Paso too, but ain't no place like home.
Guess I knew it all along. I had to head back home, 'cause this living on the road only makes me tired and sore, like a stranger with a net, like a bird without a nest, without this sweet little girl of mine. Well, my soul cries out for rest. It tastes like sweet magnolia wine, honey dripping from her mouth. with a sweet little girl of mine. She's the finest in the South, and the nights are getting longer, and the days are getting colder. Without this sweet little girl of mine, lay your head upon my shoulder.
Our church has, half dozen people that are professional musicians that make their livelihood from music, and it's an important part of the subculture here, and really in most of the neighborhoods of the city.
We actually focus on the musicians by hiring musicians, and we have a couple of jazz musicians. Both have been educated, but they know a lot of people, a whole lot of people, because they work with them throughout the week. So we actually use them to reach out to others to bring them in.